Welcome to another reading updated Reddit stories video. Today we got some juicy stories for you guys. Make sure to drop your opinions in chat if you're here live or if you're watching the video in the comments below. Starting it off hot with, my girlfriend has a locked room in her house. I don't know what is in it. We have a 31 male OP, 29 female girlfriend, and the original post was April 12th, 2017. My girlfriend Amy and I have been together for 5 years, and we are planning on moving in together into her home when my lease is up in 2 months. Our relationship is great. We have arguments, but not often, and we always resolve them like rational people. Amy owns a house and she bought it about 10 years ago. The city we live in was depressed for a while. Picture Detroit, but not, where if you were so inclined, you could buy a big house in a bad neighborhood for a song and dance, and then fix it up and hope the neighborhood would come around, which is luckily what happened to her. It's a big Victorian house with 5 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. Not a bad house. Usually we hung out at my apartment since it was near her work and I don't have a car to get out to her place. But some weekends here and there, I would spend the night. When my job went remote 5 months ago, I started spending a lot more time at her place. It wasn't until after a month I realized the one room upstairs has a latch with a padlock on it. I thought it was really weird that it was a padlock and not just a door lock. I mentioned it to her and she just said, yeah, I really don't go in that room or use it. What? I mean, I get that it's a big home and she lived in it alone for a long time, so she didn't need the space. But to padlock it like that? I asked her what was in it and she shrugged and said, stuff. Like it was no big deal. I asked if we could open it since maybe that would be a good space for my home office, and she said no. Now I'm really curious and it's actually sort of eating away at me. I don't care what is in the room, I just honestly don't get why it is padlocked shut. That's weird, right? Am I being unreasonable since I'm moving in? I understand the right to privacy and I wouldn't snoop, and couldn't if I wanted to. You couldn't even tell from the outside since it's on the 2nd floor. I've been sort of paying attention now if she goes in there or not, and I don't think she ever does. I feel like since I'm moving in, I have a right to know. But do I? I don't want to make her open it, but she's so nonchalant about it and changes the subject that my mind keeps running away with me about what could be in there. I'm just wondering what other people think, what I should do, and if I'm being unreasonable wanting to see/know what is in this padlocked room, or if I don't have a right to. Our relationship is amazing and perfect, except for this one really weird issue. Yeah, I think if you're moving in, I think it's fine to be like, hey, I kind of want to see every nook and cranny of this new place that I'm about to live in. I think he's merited. I wouldn't move in anywhere where I couldn't explore every little crevice of it. As weird as it would be, I think it's fine to go up to her and be like, hey, you know, I'm moving in. I'm excited. I gotta see this room, bro. If I'm gonna move into a place, I need to know everything that's going on here. And also it's just a little bit weird that you have a padlocked room, because I think once you make that request and it's just like hey, I need to do this, if she disrespects that, she's either hiding something or she doesn't respect the fact, like if someone said that to me, I would be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like, you're about to move in, you should know what we got going on in this house. And if she has like a weird reaction, is like, no, fucking call the cops, I don't know. I think if she says no, you should definitely investigate, low-key. If she has like a keychain, maybe try every single key to figure out which one goes to that padlock. But now we find out. Update April 15, 2017, 3 days later. I had a long talk with my girlfriend when she got home from work in the morning about the locked room. She tried to blow it off a few times and get out of the conversation until I told her I couldn't move in until she told me what was in the room and I saw it for myself. I told her I didn't care what was in there. After posting here, I was more and more convinced that it was probably guns or something related to her work in law enforcement, as that really did make a lot of sense. Eventually, she just broke down sobbing. Big, giant, ugly sobs like I have never seen before. It was pretty shocking. She's not really a crier. It took a good 15 minutes before she could even start forming words that I could understand between giant sobs. It was absolutely heartbreaking to see, and I knew as soon as she started crying that it wasn't a room full of guns or work stuff. Actually, the room is empty. There is nothing in there. Someone had surmised in the comments of the other post that maybe there was some trauma. I forgot who it was, but unfortunately they were correct. She was basically a kid at 19 when she bought the house. Like I said, bad neighborhood, fixer-upper, etc. And it was dirt cheap due to the city she lived in and those other factors. She had always been smart with the money, so she had a big down payment and was planning on taking the rest of her savings to fix it up. I don't want to get specific with details as it's pretty gruesome and also privacy, but in her 3rd week living there, she had a home invasion while she was home in that room, and she was assaulted. She had no money to move and no family around, so she stayed in the home after buying a security system and locking the door up and planning to just never unlock it and basically never go in that room again. So there you have it. I seriously was not expecting that at all, and it has been a long week for her. And I feel terrible I made her tell me, but she says that she's glad I now know. She never told me before because she didn't want to, which I totally respect. Also, that is when she decided to start a career in law enforcement to help other people. FYI, I have actually seen the room, and now I don't feel I ever need to. I wonder if he meant not. FYI, I have not actually seen in the room, and now I don't feel I ever need to. Not where I thought that story was going at all. That's I couldn't imagine living in that home still. Like, for me, it wouldn't even be the room. It would be the entire home, man. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he should push it now after that story. It would still fucking kill me if I didn't actually see the inside of it and I was moving in. I know that's terrible of me to say. I would just really want to like confirm that it's an empty room, bro. He's probably a better man than I am. Ex-boyfriend and I were van lifing across country. He kicked me and all my stuff out last week. I am now 2 states away and have his dad's watch. He's demanding I deliver it to him. Original post, January 29th, 2022. We were both remote workers and decided we could van life and see things while still working. We lasted about a month, and last week he flipped out over the way I sipped my coffee and told me I had to leave. I thought he meant like we would pack up and figure out how to get me home. No, he meant I needed to get out with all my shit in the middle of a state park in New Mexico and figure it out. I was scared and pissed, so I hurriedly packed everything and got out. A very nice older couple had heard the screaming and saw me with a pile of my stuff and asked if I needed help. I said yes, and they said they would drive me to Albuquerque in their RV, and we could figure out what would happen next. Well, it turns out they are the sweetest people ever, and we eventually came to the conclusion it would be easier for me to travel with them home to Kansas. And now they've allowed me to stay paying them insanely fair rent, food, etc. I just have to edit the wife's book and help the husband with his guitar playing. I mean, that sounds like a better situation than with this piece of shit who got mad at you for sipping coffee and decided, oh, you know what I'm gonna do to the person that is my girlfriend? Kick them to the curb in a state that's like 10 hours away from their home. Well, it turns out in the hurry of packing, I grabbed my ex's watch that was his dad's. I got in touch with him and told him I was sorry, it was truly an accident, and I had no intention of keeping it. How would he like me to get it to him? He said I needed to meet him in Utah. I said that was ridiculous. I could send it to him. He said that it was too valuable to trust to mail or FedEx and needed to be hand delivered. I said I was in Kansas and not coming to Utah, but I would return the watch to his brother when I go home in March. He said no, the only solution was for me to drive to him. I said I didn't even have a car. He said, you're probably fucking half of Lawrence, use one of theirs. At that point, I blocked him. Hey man, I'm gonna be really honest here. Basically calling her a slut is not a great incentivization for her to go out of her way to bring you the thing that you value. Wee woo, dumb man alert. The watch is pretty valuable and has a lot of sentimental value, and I will return it. It was my oversight that I have it in the first place. What are my obligations to follow his instructions to get the watch back to him? Absolutely none. You gave him other ways for him to get this watch that don't inconvenience you. Do not bend to this shitty man's will. Go give it to his brother, unblock him, be like, your watch is with your brother, then block him again. Not your circus, not your monkeys anymore, bro. If he doesn't want to do it in one of the ways she offers, then fuck him. I'm petty enough. Just sell it. I don't think she should sell it, but I don't think she owes this man anything other than whatever's convenient for her to get this watch to him. Like, that's not when you go like, oh, wee woo, should I do this for him? That's when you tell him like, these are your options, pick one, or I'm goodwilling it. Ooh, dude sounds like a psychopath. Do not under any circumstances willingly meet up with him in person ever again. Don't let him know where you live. This level of douchery is a sign of something very off, and you don't want to be there again when he short circuits again. You were extremely lucky to have found the people you did. Who knows where you'd be if that had not happened? That's actually a very good point, bro. He did her so dirty, bro. She got so lucky that she's not in a worse situation than she is in right now. Let's do the update, shall we? Update February 6th, 2022, 1 week later. Most people said best option was to contact his brother. Before I did that, I decided to unblock my ex just to give him one more chance to give me an address where I could ship the watch. Actual text conversation. OP. Hey, I'm sorry I blocked you. I just didn't appreciate the insults, but I want to get your dad's watch back. Don't apologize, bro. You can't apologize to a guy like this. It's showing weakness. You got to be like, I blocked you for a bit because you're an asshole, but I'm unblocking you to get this shit figured out so I can never contact you again. Do you want me to send this to you or I'm giving it to your brother? That's how you go about that. Can you let me know where to send it? I'll pay for shipping, no problem. Like less than 30 seconds later, he responds, I stashed the watch in your bag because I wanted to prove to myself what an awful person you are, and good job at proving me right again. What? So you kicked her out in the middle of nowhere, and while she was packing, you put your watch into her bag to prove that she's a bad person. This man needs a grippy sock vacation. Bro is unwell. I was like, wow, so many people in the original said that he probably put the watch in my stuff as I was packing in order to force communication and force the opportunity to see him again. Well, you were exactly correct. I didn't even respond to his text and blocked him again. I have no intention of keeping the watch, so I decided now it was time to contact his brother, who, along with his wife, has always been very nice to me. He was super appreciative, and we spent a couple days going back and forth figuring out the shipping, but the watch arrived to him on Friday, and all is good. He even Venmo'd me $1,000 for being so honest contacting him, etc. Damn, I wish someone would Venmo me $1,000. Fuck. I make really good money, so I told him it wasn't necessary at all, but he insisted, so we agreed to donate it to a food pantry here in Lawrence. Aw. That's such a great move. But I'm still so creeped out thinking at the day when he kicked me out of the van and he was screaming at me, calling me all sorts of names, him scheming to stay in touch with me. He was slamming all my stuff into bags, but that was cover for him hiding the watch. The fact that it was so deliberate, yet he thought of it so quickly, is so scary to me. We got along so well before we left, and he always seemed like a great guy. I don't know if the confined space of the van is too much for any couple, or if it brought out a side of him I didn't know was there. Makes me sad and scared at the same time, but relieved it's over. You know, chat, I think some men do shit like this to like test how far they can push the women that they're dating, because the further that they can push them, like the more control that they'll have in the long term. Like if he can convince her to come to Utah for him to return his watch, that is like a very big indicator for how much he could manipulate her based off of like how much she cares about him, you know? The devil works hard, but men on Reddit work harder. I discovered that my parents have been lying to me about my food allergies and who knows what else for my entire life. Am I justified if I cut them out of my life? We have some parents that are in their 50s and OP who is a 19 female. Original post August 13th, 2015. Ever since I was a little girl, my parents have told me that I am allergic to both milk and chocolate. The story goes that I broke into severe hives on my very first Halloween. My mom had given me some milk chocolate and I had to be rushed to the hospital with hives and breathing problems where I was diagnosed with both chocolate and milk allergies. Ever since then, I have never been allowed to eat anything containing chocolate or cow's milk. Over the summer, one of my college friends from out of state invited me to come stay with her for a few weeks. While I was in her state, I decided to use the opportunity to visit my godmother/aunt, who I haven't been able to see since I was a young child. My aunt was thrilled to see me and we spent a whole day hiking and just catching up. When we stopped for lunch, my aunt pulled out some granola bars, but they had chocolate in them, so I couldn't eat them. I told her that I was allergic to chocolate and she was stunned. My aunt told me that I have never been allergic to chocolate and that my mom was lying to me. She told me the story of how I had gotten ill from daycare and my mom had tried to sue the daycare owner for some stupid reason that no one was sure of, because she thought the daycare owner was flirting with my dad and she wanted to get the daycare shut down. My mom then invented the story about me and the chocolate at the Halloween party. She made sure not to tell the daycare about the fake allergy and then waited for the daycare to feed me food with chocolate in it so she could sue. When that didn't work, my mom then invented a story about me being allergic to milk. When Aunt tried to call her out on it, my mom stopped speaking to her and that silence has continued until the present. Needless to say, I was stunned. I wanted so badly to believe that my mom was telling the truth and that my aunt was lying. I waited until we got back to my aunt's house and I took a bite of one of the granola bars, and I was not allergic at all. I was very upset and decided to call my dad. Our conversation was so crazy and out of nowhere that I don't know what else to do but type it out. The conversation went like this. OP, Dad, were you aware that I'm not actually allergic to chocolate and milk like you and Mom have told me? Dad, don't be ridiculous. You never have been able to eat chocolate without a reaction. Why would we make that up? OP, I'm not trying to accuse you of making it up. I was just asking if you are aware that I do not have the allergy. I just ate some chocolates and I didn't have any reaction to it. Did I ever get any allergy tests done? Dad, I will have to ask your mother. I am upset that you are trying to call us liars over this. OP, when did I say anyone was lying? What are you talking about? My mom then jumped into the conversation. Speakerphone. Mom, honey, don't you remember that you had hives at your 10th birthday party? Your friend had given you a Tootsie Pop and you were allergic to the chocolate. Me, Mom, I never had a 10th birthday party and I don't know what you're talking about. I was just curious if I ever had a real allergy test done for chocolate because I was just able to eat some without a reaction. I'm just trying to figure out if I can eat chocolate or not now. Mom, I don't know why you need to know if you had a test or not. You can't eat chocolate because we say you can't eat chocolate. You're being a little liar right now. How dare you say we never gave you a birthday party that year? You've always been ungrateful and now you can't even remember the party we gave you. The mom's tried to gaslight, changing the subject, turning it on OP. Oh my God. OP, Mom, I know I never had a 10th birthday party because I was at summer camp. Why are you trying to make me believe that I did? My mom then started screaming at me and I just hung up the phone because it was loud and I couldn't hear any individual words. I silenced my phone and watched as she proceeded to call me 40 times in a row. The entire time my aunt was watching in horror. My aunt then gave me a hug and told me that this is why she doesn't have a relationship with my mother. My mom has always done this, lied to people, and then tried to convince them it was the truth. I'm very upset about this entire situation. The conversation was simply one of the craziest things I've seen, and I don't know who these people are anymore. It creeped me out, and I don't think I ever want to talk to them again, or else they will try to turn on me. Am I right in wanting to cut these people out of my life? Caroline, what is the point of all of this? That's exactly how I feel. I'm like, why is this mother dying on this hill, bro? Like, it would have been better if she would have just admitted like, oh yeah, I must have made it up or something and just forgot to drop it. But for her to like try to twist the narrative, try to gaslight and manipulate OP, bitch, it's not gonna work. She ate the chocolate. She knows it's not real. How does she think this is gonna hold up? There was absolutely multiple outs to this conversation, but instead she did the most suspect thing, which is double down on the lie and try to change the subject via shaming OP for something. Ooh, interesting. OP adds about her parents. My mom and dad are two peas in a pod and they are best friends. If she's a narcissist, then I'm 100% positive he is one too. I can't afford an allergy test, but at least I know I'm not going to die from chocolate anymore. I don't think I'll be able to pretend that I forgot about the party because it was so hurtful that she tried to lie to me about it. I don't ever want to speak to her again. She doesn't even remember my birthdays, and she's my mom. I forgot to answer whether or not she should cut off her parents. My answer to that, I think, is no. But I think it's no because now that you're aware that they might be lying to you about stuff, you can be more proactive about trying to catch them in their lies and maybe figure out some of the other things they've lied to you about in your life. Because I think that would be important for me, is trying to figure out like, okay, well, if y'all lied about this big thing, like what else are y'all lying about that like is actually not real or not true? First update, November 17th, 2015, about 3 months after the original post. Been a while, but I felt the need to update because my mom purchased a one-way ticket to Crazy Town after I made the first post. To summarize what I have found out since my last post, I am not allergic to chocolate. Chocolate is amazing and I am now addicted to the chocolate waterfall at the Golden Corral. I am not allergic to milk. I am mildly lactose intolerant, but I was always told it was an allergy to a protein in the milk. I can drink Lactaid with no issues. I had an allergy test done and it confirmed that I am not allergic to anything except for pollen and some animal dander. My mother is a psycho. After I made my original post, I decided that I was going to cut contact with my parents except through email. My mom called me over 1,000 times the first week, and I eventually had to get a new phone and simply stopped answering the old phone and let the battery in it die. To put this in perspective, she used to call me 2 to 3 times a week, and this sudden increase was pure insanity. Since my mom knew where my dorm room was located on campus, I requested to be moved into one of the more private dorm buildings because I was concerned for my privacy. I didn't tell anyone except my college friends about the move, and I had thought that everything would be fine. Everything was fine for a few weeks until I got a call from one of the adjunct professors to help tutor one of the new students. My school has a master tutor list, and any student can call the tutors and arrange for help for free. Us tutors are paid by the school. I told the adjunct that I would meet the student in the library in a few, and I grabbed my books and walked over to the library. Lo and behold, the new student was my mom. as crazy as that is, that's kind of fucking smart. I gotta give her a little bit of credit. You gotta be pretty big brain to fucking figure that one out. My mother decided that she would enroll in classes as a student in order to contact me. When I saw her, I froze and immediately tried to leave the library, but she followed me outside and wouldn't leave me alone. She enrolled in college classes to contact her daughter? I mean, holy shit. I eventually managed to duck into one of the fraternity apartments and was able to lose her, but she has basically been stalking me on campus ever since. I tried to report her to the school, but the campus police told me that since she never made any threats, that there's nothing I can do. I tried reporting her to the normal police as well, but was told the same thing. My mom has not left me any voicemails or texts or anything at all that I can use to prove what she's doing. My RA has ensured that my mom is banned from my dorm building. Only upperclassmen are allowed, and my mom is technically a freshman, but beyond that, I am running out of options. My mom posted on Facebook that she is signing up for the same classes as I need to complete my major next semester. She posted her schedule and we are in one of the same classes, and I don't know what else I can do to stop the crazy. She claims that she didn't do anything to hurt me and that I am just lying about the chocolate and milk allergies. My aunt had to go out of the country for work, and I feel so alone dealing with all of this. My dad has basically ditched and moved out of my mom's house, and I haven't been able to get in contact with him either. Any ideas for how to stop the crazy? Enrolling in the same classes is fucking wild. Oh, dude, I don't even know what you fucking do in this scenario. I mean, maybe you can try to transfer schools. I mean, that's got to be a fucking nightmare. And also, like, she has friends at this school. She has, like, everything established. I'm trying to think, Chad. I don't think there is a good solution to this. First, I would maybe try to find an alternative to that class, if possible. Like, go to the professor, explain the situation, see if he'll let you, like, take the class completely online. Go to the school, explain it. If there's another class, try to swap with somebody in that other class. Throw those Hail Marys, but I think if that doesn't work, you have to consider transferring schools to finish out your degree if it's really important for you to completely get away from your mom. Like, you could put up with it, but then you're just gonna put up with her harassing you the entire semester. When told to contact the department head or professor and have her mom removed. I'm typing up an email to the department chair now, and I'm waiting for a call back from the student affairs office. I've still got the phone, but the police wouldn't even look at it when I tried to tell them about her stalking me. It's an iPhone, so it saves all the records of when she tried to call me. Yeah, I think pleading your case to the university might be your best bet, honestly. Oh, dang. All right. Second update is titled, "My mom is in the hospital right now because she became suicidal after a meeting with me and our university. I feel so guilty." November 25th, 2015. I contacted the student affairs department and they arranged a meeting between myself and my mom regarding the stalking. At the meeting, the administrator heard both sides of our stories and pretty much caught my mom in another lie. My mom had her best poker face on and tried to claim that she hadn't contacted me in months. She denied that she had called me repeatedly, denied that she ever tried to get tutoring from me, denied everything she did. She tried to act like she was the victim and that I was just a mean and disrespectful daughter who hated her mom. And that's when I produced my iPhone and showed the administrator the call log from when my mom called me over 1,000 times in a row. This is not an exaggeration. The call log hit quadruple digits. My mom then tried to deny that the number was her cell number, but the administrator looked it up in the student database and it proved she was lying. My mom tried to backtrack, but the damage was done. The administrator made us both sign contracts that said that we each must not contact each other for the remainder of the school year, otherwise we would be suspended from classes. My mom was forced to change her schedule so that she would not be in the same classes I was in. The administrator made it clear that if she tried to circumvent the contract, even if by accident, that she could have her student ID banned from entering the student center or other buildings if I was inside. They're controlled by RFID chips and we have to swipe them to enter certain buildings. After the meeting ended, I was so happy and I felt free for the first time in weeks. A few nights later, my dad called me and left a voicemail informing me that my mom tried to unalive herself with sleeping pills and that she was going to the hospital. I thought it was fake at first, so I called the hospital and they put me through to my dad, who was in the waiting room. My dad laid into me pretty hard and called me names and stuff about the whole situation and then told me that if I didn't want my mom to die, I shouldn't have made her life miserable. So that's my Thanksgiving vacation and I don't really know what to think or do right now. I'm going to go bake a pumpkin pie and try to forget about it all, but food tastes like ash in my my mouth. I don't know, chat. I look at, listen, is it sad that she tried to do that? Yes. But I look at this like this is very similar to someone threatening to unalive themselves if someone leaves them. You should never put someone in that situation, and the only correct response to it is, okay, then do it and walk away. That's a crappy thing to put on someone else's shoulders, and this is all the mom's fault. Like, you can't create the bed that you made in and be like, oh, wee woo, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna unalive myself, and it's gonna be everybody else's fault. It's like, no, this one's on you, girl. Am I the a-hole for cutting off my mother-in-law after she made a joke about poking holes in our condoms? Original post, November 3rd, 2024. Before we get into the last story, if you've gotten this far in the video, I'm guessing you're enjoying it, and if you want to enjoy all my future uploads, make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss any videos in the future. Also, if you'd like to be here live for those Reddit reads, go and check out my Twitch. Link should be in the description. I usually go live every Thursday and Sunday reading Reddit stories from Am I the A-hole and Best of Redditor updates. Join us for those lives and even get a chance to be featured in videos just like this one. I, 38 female, have been together with my husband James for 4 years. We are both child-free and do not intend to have kids in the future. When we first got married, we both told our family about how we didn't want to have kids and why. My family was fine with it, but his wasn't, especially my mother-in-law, who I'll call Mary for privacy. She's either passive-aggressive or just tells us we'll change our minds soon. For example, telling us, I can't wait to be a grandma, despite us not wanting children. If we try to say otherwise, she just pretends not to hear us. I've been very uncomfortable with this, and I have told my husband multiple times, but he's just brushed it off by saying she'll accept it someday. However, it reached a limit. Recently, James was hosting a dinner party and invited his family as well as mine. While we were eating, my mother-in-law jokingly said, you know, OP, I've considered poking holes into you and James's condoms so I could be a grandma. It's so smart, and you'd never know. Before laughing, I was horrified. After that, I excused myself and left the house. James followed after me, saying I was being dramatic, and it was a joke. I told him that it wasn't a joke, and what would happen if she actually did it. We kept arguing for a bit before he stormed back into the house and I drove off in my car. I blocked my mother-in-law on all social media and deleted her number. The whole family is furious at me now, calling me sensitive and paranoid. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I just think you needed to be more aggressive to her. Don't get me wrong. James being as incompetent as a husband who will stand up for you in front of the clearly boundary crossing mother-in-law is a red flag in itself that you definitely need to address. But you know he's not going to say shit to your mother-in-law. This is clearly out of line. Honestly, just out of line talking about anything in your guys' sex life unless that's been an established thing that you are comfortable speaking to that person about, which, I mean, I guess you didn't say it, but I would put money that she's crossing some boundaries here. Like, there's no way you don't really get along with her, but you're telling her about your sex life. I think OP needs to be more aggressive. Like, fucking shit on her dreams, bro. She says like, oh, I'm gonna poke holes in your condom. I'd be like, hey, that's actually rape. So I'd either charge you or your son. Don't ever joke about that again. That's what you have to do, bro. You kind of got to lay your whole dick on the table here. I think he might have just agreed to the child-free thing to make the wife happy, but doesn't plan to keep it that way and will try something. Okay, Mitsu, maybe you're right. There are a couple of relevant comments here. Question, why don't one of you get fixed if you're adamant on not having kids? OOP, it's my husband who refuses to get a procedure done. I've already offered to get my tubes tied and other procedures, but he says he's not ready yet and doesn't want me to get surgery either until we're both ready. We're referring to him because I'm only waiting on him right now. Okay, yeah, that's a major red flag there. Update November 4th, 2024. Last night, I had a talk with my husband about how I wanted him to take a deeper step into his commitment of being child-free. I've also told him unless he gets a vasectomy or similar procedure, I will not be having sex with him. I want him to do this to prove he can stand up to his mother and that he is just as child-free as I am. But honestly, I've doubted that after posting the first story. Not in a rude way, of course. My husband told me that he still wasn't ready yet and that I was moving too fast. And by asking him to stand up to his mother, I was basically asking him to disrespect her for my sake. I'm asking you not to be a little bitch so as to not disrespect me. That's what OP's saying, bro. I can't believe that. Like, little mommy's boy over here wants to suck straight from her nipple. So then I just asked him if he wanted kids or not and to stop beating around the bush because I will divorce him and disappear like the wind if he does want kids. That finally got him to open his mouth, and he told me that he did want kids and was just secretly hoping for either an accident or me changing my mind, like how most of you guys in the comments predicted. All right, Mitsu, you kind of ate. Mitsu called that. Definitely called that. But what really shocked me is that he told me he was already considering tampering with our birth control condoms before, but he just hadn't found it in him to do it yet. So now it makes sense why he only wanted to use condoms for our birth control. I mean, this kind of sounds like a girl who would just go get in a boo-boo, you know? Like, oh, I hate men. Like, I like being a guy, but I hate being, like, roped in with these douchebags. After that, I simply said that as of now, this marriage is over and I will be filing for a divorce as fast as possible. And I made sure to tell him that whatever possible child I could have had would never be in his grasp to see him, especially my mother-in-law. He tried to protest, but I was firm on leaving. Honestly, he was pretty much planning to baby trap me. Nice try, but not here, honey. As of now, I'm currently staying at my sister's house. Soon, I'm going to try and find a lawyer for divorce, but I do know that I can't ever go back in that house with him in it or my mother-in-law. This entire event has left me very shaken and worried. I don't get why people have to be such terrible humans, bro. Like, there's someone out there who will have your children. This woman says she's not gonna have your children. Just listen to her. Go find someone who does want to have your children. It's that easy. Why take the path of most resistance? I will never understand this shit.